My husband forgot our anniversary. Again. But this time, he didn't just forget. He took his sister out to dinner using the gift card I gave him last year. When I asked him about it, he said, "She deserved it more than you. She's been through more." I sat there in silence while they laughed at the table next to mine. That night, he told me I was too cold and too serious for his family anyway. I left the house with just a backpack. 3 months later, his sister called me crying, saying, "Please, he's out of control. You were the only one who calmed him. I guess it started 2 years ago." That was the first time he forgot. Our 6th wedding anniversary. I reminded him the week before, even circled the date on the calendar. He came home that night with takeout and a headache, said work was killing him, and he forgot what day it was. I forgave him. The 7th year, he remembered. Barely. Took me to Olive Garden and scrolled through his phone the whole time. Said money was tight, but Melanie's birthday was that same week and he bought her some kind of expensive air purifier because her allergies are really bad. I didn't say much then either. But this year hit different. It was our 8th year. I'd been putting away a little cash here and there from my side job at the library. Saved up to maybe take a short weekend trip, just the two of us. But I never got to mention it. Because he didn't ask. He didn't even look me in the eye that week. The morning of our anniversary, I got up early. Made coffee. Left him a card on the counter with a small envelope tucked inside. Just a letter, nothing dramatic. Just me telling him I still loved him and hoped we could reconnect. He didn't open it. Didn't say a word that morning. Kissed me on the forehead like I was his sister or some coworker and left. I cried in the kitchen. Not loud. Just quiet tears. It wasn't even about the dinner or the gift. I just wanted him to see me. To remember I was still here. That night, my coworker Marcia, who's more like a big sister, asked if I wanted to grab a drink. I almost said no, but she could tell I needed air. So we went downtown, ended up near that steakhouse on Vine Street. Ruth's Chris. As we walked in, she stopped me and whispered, "Isn't that your husband?" I turned. And there he was, sitting at a candlelit table, wearing the shirt I bought him last Christmas. Across from him was Melanie, his sister, dressed like she was on a fancy date. Full face of makeup, sparkly earrings, wine glass in hand. And I knew, right then, that damn gift card. I gave him that card last year, meant for us to use together. He kept it in his drawer and said we'd go when things calmed down. I never brought it up again. But there it was, in front of him, halfway out of the check folder. My handwriting on the to mark line. Still there. I walked over. Didn't make a scene. Just stood at the end of the table and looked at him. He smiled, lifted his glass. "Hey," I asked, "why tonight?" Melanie looked uncomfortable, like she wanted to sink into the booth. But he just leaned back and said, "She deserved it more than you. She's been through more." I stared at him. He added, "You're too cold. Too serious. You don't really fit with us." Us. Like I was some outsider. Like I'd somehow wandered into the wrong family by mistake. I didn't say a word. Just walked out. My hands were shaking. Marcia followed, but I waved her off. I needed to be alone. That night, I packed a backpack. 1 pair of jeans. 2 shirts. A few basics. Left the ring on the bathroom counter. I called a Lyft and went straight to my cousin Danielle's in Cincinnati. She didn't ask questions. Just let me sleep. He didn't call. Not once. I got a job at the hospital answering phones. Quiet work. Simple. I read at night, walked to the park on weekends, started journaling again. For the first time in years, I felt like a person again. Then came the call. 3 months later. Blocked number. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something told me to answer. It was Melanie. Sobbing. "Please," she said. "He's out of control. He's drinking. He won't talk to anyone. You were the only one who ever calmed him down. I don't know what to do." He's not the same without you. I let her cry. And I stayed silent. Because I already had a plan. I didn't tell her where I was. I just said he made his choices and hung up. That was the first call. Over the next 2 weeks, she tried 3 more times. Left voicemails. Said he was breaking things in their mom's house, that he lost his job, that he'd been driving drunk. I didn't reply, but I listened to every word. Then, one day, she sent a photo. It was a picture of him sitting on a curb outside what looked like a bar. Hair a mess. Red in the face. Shirt half untucked. Eyes swollen. The text underneath said, "He's not okay. He talks to himself. Keeps saying he ruined everything." I stared at that picture for a long time. I thought about the years I gave him. The holidays I spent with his family while mine lived 3 states away. The nights I cooked dinner and waited for him to come home, only for him to walk past me and sit on the couch like I didn't exist. The way he once told me, "You're not fun anymore." I thought about all of it, and I smiled. But this wasn't going to end with me sitting back and watching. No. I wanted him to feel what it's like to be erased, forgotten, replaced. So I started reaching out to people from his past. His old high school friend Troy, who he used to ditch me to go drinking with. I messaged Troy's wife on Facebook, said I was checking in, asked if she and Troy were still together. She said no. Said Mark and Troy had gotten into a fight a few months ago, and she didn't know why. I did. Then I looked up Melanie's ex. They dated off and on for years. He was never great to her, but he hated Mark. I messaged him too. Told him what Melanie said about how he never protected her. He said, "Funny. She always called Mark a bully." I let that one sit. And then I called Mark's old boss. I wasn't sure if he'd talk to me, but I just said, "I'm his wife." Or I was. I just wanted to know what happened. He said Mark had been yelling at coworkers. One day threw a phone across the office, and it shattered on the wall. Said it wasn't the first time. Said Mark kept blaming his cold-hearted wife who abandoned him. I thanked him and hung up. The picture Melanie sent stayed on my phone. I looked at it every night before bed. Then I made one last move. I booked a room at a small hotel back in our hometown. Just for a weekend. Danielle came with me, just in case. We went to that same steakhouse. Ruth's Chris. Saturday night. I wore the same black dress I had the night I caught him there with his sister. And then I waited. Because I knew he'd show up eventually. Word spreads in a small town. Sure enough, Sunday evening, I got a message from an unknown number. It just said, "Are you in town? I saw your car." He still remembered the license plate. I didn't reply. Not yet. I had more to do. He didn't stop messaging. By Monday morning, he'd sent 8 texts. The last one said, "Please, just talk to me." I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Instead, I went to the courthouse. I wasn't filing for divorce yet. That would come later. First, I requested a copy of the deed to the house. I already knew it was in both our names, but I needed the paperwork. Next, I visited our old neighbor, Mrs. Holly. She was the type who noticed everything and told no one unless you asked. She let me in with a tight hug and a glass of sweet tea. "I figured it was only a matter of time before he ran you off," she said. I just nodded. Then I asked about what had happened after I left. She didn't hold back. She said 2 weeks after I disappeared, Melanie moved in. Said Mark told everyone I had a breakdown and left for mental health reasons. I felt the blood drain from my face. She said Melanie started parking her car in my spot. Started using the backyard for her yoga classes. She even repainted my kitchen, the blue I picked, with some ugly beige. She called it a healing color, Mrs. Holly said, rolling her eyes. I thanked her and left. Drove around the block twice before pulling into our old driveway. I still had my key. I didn't go in. Not yet. I just wanted him to see me, standing there. looking at the house like it was already mine again. Sure enough, the curtains moved. Just a little. An hour later, he called. This time, I answered. His voice was low. You came back. I came to get what's mine, I said. You don't have to do this, he said. I messed up. I know I did. Melanie's gone now. She moved back in with Mom. I didn't care. He started crying. Or pretending to. I've been in therapy. I'm trying. I swear. I didn't say anything. Then he whispered, you have no idea what it's been like without you. That's when I snapped. I do, actually. It's been peaceful. You should try it sometime. I hung up. That night, I met with a lawyer. Laid it all out. The years of neglect. The emotional abuse. The way he tried to erase me from our life like I never mattered. The lawyer nodded and said, he's going to try to charm his way out of this. Be ready. I was. The next day, I filed divorce, sole claim on the house. And I included the copy of the gift card, the date of the dinner, our anniversary, as evidence of cruelty. But I wasn't done. I had one last move. A letter. Handwritten. Folded into the same envelope he'd never opened on our anniversary. I slid it under the front door. Inside was a simple note. You erased me. Now I'm erasing you. 2 weeks after I filed for divorce, I got a call from his mom. She never liked me much, but I answered anyway. She said, he's not eating. He barely sleeps. He keeps saying he lost everything. I said he did. Then I hung up. A few days later, my lawyer called. Said Mark wasn't contesting anything. Not the house. Not the finances. Nothing. He'd signed every page and walked out of the office without saying a word. I should have felt peace. Instead, I felt a strange kind of pity. Not for him. For me. For the version of me that begged him for attention. For years. For the woman who cried in silence while her husband laughed at a steakhouse table with someone who never had to earn his love. I went back to the house alone. He was gone. The beige walls were still there, but the energy was different. The kitchen felt cold. So I started tearing everything down. New paint. New locks. Tossed out every fork and plate we ever shared. While clearing the hall closet, I found a box. Inside were photos. Our wedding. A vacation in Florida. A birthday party with Melanie smiling in the background. There was a small envelope unopened. It was the letter I left him, the one from our anniversary. The same envelope I slid under the door weeks ago was now sitting on top of it. He hadn't touched either. He never read my words. That night, I sat on the floor with the envelope in my lap. I didn't cry. I didn't feel much of anything anymore. Then my phone buzzed. A new number. A text. I know you hate me. I don't blame you. Just wanted you to know I'm moving. Starting over. I'm sorry I made you feel invisible. You weren't. You never were. I just didn't know how to love someone like you. I stared at it. Then I deleted it. I didn't reply. Later that month, Melanie showed up at my door. I didn't invite her in. She looked tired. Worn out. He's gone, she said. Left town. Took a job out west. Good, I said. She paused. He's not okay. I stared at her. Neither was I. She nodded slowly. I was wrong too. I should have never laughed that night. I should have said something. You didn't, I said. You chose him. Over me. I'm sorry. I closed the door. That night, I lit a fire in the backyard. Threw in every photo, every card, every memory that held weight. Watched the smoke rise and disappear into the sky. I wasn't the same woman anymore. And neither was he. We both lost. In different ways. But I rebuilt. He ran. And when I finally repainted the kitchen, I picked the same shade of blue. Because it was mine. And no one was ever going to erase me again.